I want you to listen carefully. Not because this story is loud, but because it is quiet. And quiet things stay with you longer. There is a small city in the United States that people rarely talk about anymore. Not because it was destroyed. Not because it disappeared from the map. But because remembering it feels like inviting something back. The city was called Grey Willow. It was the kind of place where days passed without meaning and nights felt familiar. Streets were empty but not lonely. Houses stood close together, as if trying to protect one another. People believed nothing truly bad could happen there. They were wrong. At the far end of the city was a road named Marvin Street. At first glance, it looked ordinary. Just another residential street with old wooden houses, cracked sidewalks, and streetlights that flickered when the wind grew stronger. Years ago, children played there. Couples walked their dogs. Life existed. But in the exact center of Marvin Street stood a house that felt different. Not broken. Not abandoned. Just aware. It was a two-story wooden house, older than the others, its paint faded into a lifeless gray. The roof curved inward slightly, as if the house was bending under its own weight. The windows were always dark. Even in daylight, they reflected nothing. That house belonged to a woman named Eleanor Krause. No one knew where she came from. No one remembered her arriving. People only knew she was old, very old. 90 years, they said. But when they looked at her, it felt like she had lived far longer than that. Eleanor rarely left the house. When she did, she walked slowly, dressed in black, her posture stiff, her movements deliberate. She never smiled. Never spoke. And when her eyes met yours, it felt like standing too close to an open grave. People avoided her instinctively. Then one winter night, Eleanor Krause died. No sound. No warning. No witnesses. Police were called after neighbors noticed newspapers piling up at her door. When they entered the house, they found her sitting upright in a wooden chair, facing the center of the room. Her eyes were open. Her face was calm. Almost pleased. The doctor declared it natural causes. A long life ending quietly. Case closed. But the house told a different story. There were no photographs inside. No mirrors. No clocks. No signs that time had ever passed there. The walls were bare except for scratches deep, repeated marks carved into the wood, especially near doors and along the staircase. They looked like they had been made by hands that never stopped moving. With no family and no will, the house became property of the city. City officials decided to use it for those in need. Shelter for families with nowhere else to go. A second chance, they called it. The first family moved in during spring. A young couple and their daughter. For the first few nights, nothing happened. The house was quiet. Too quiet. But old houses often are. On the fourth night, the child woke up crying. She said someone was walking upstairs. Her parents told her it was just the house settling. The next night, she woke up again. This time, she said the footsteps were slower. Careful. Like someone counting each step. On the sixth night, she screamed so loudly the neighbors heard it. She said an old woman was standing outside her door, staring at her, whispering the same sentence again and again. "This is my house." The family left before sunrise. Another family moved in later. They stayed longer. They noticed doors opening on their own. Cold air moving through closed rooms. Objects shifting slightly when no one was watching. They said the house felt crowded, even when they were alone. They left without explanation. Then a single man moved in. He said he wasn't afraid of stories. He said houses were just wood and nails. 2 weeks later, he vanished. His clothes were still there. His phone lay on the table. The house was locked from the inside. After that, the city sealed the house shut. But Eleanor did not stay inside. People began seeing her at night. Standing on Marvin Street. Under the streetlights. Motionless. Always facing her house. If someone tried to approach her, she would slowly turn her head. And every person who saw her described the same feeling. A sudden, overwhelming certainty that they did not belong there. Houses near hers began to empty. Families moved away. Some sold their homes cheaply. Others abandoned them entirely. At night, people heard knocking. 3 slow knocks. Always at 2:39 a.m. When doors were opened, no one was there. Then people started disappearing. A delivery driver. A teenager. A police officer. Their phones stopped working near the same place. The house. When investigators entered it again, they found new scratches on the walls. Fresh ones. And names. Carved deep into the wood. Every name belonged to someone who had walked down Marvin Street. A former city clerk eventually admitted the truth. The house had never belonged to Eleanor. She had been chosen to stay. To keep it quiet. To keep it fed. And when she died, the house was left alone. Marvin Street still exists. The houses still stand. But no one goes there anymore. And if you ever see an old woman standing silently on an empty road at night, do not speak. Do not follow. Because the house is still waiting. And it always needs someone new.